Well, hello there, Throngow here, and I'm just going to talk to you today a little bit about Open University, as I put a poll out on my YouTube a few days ago saying if I should diversify my content a little bit, because I mostly did travel videos before, but I can only do that when I have the money to go traveling. So because YouTube for me, at least as it stands now, is just a hobby. I don't get paid, so I can only do travel videos when I'm on holiday traveling. So anyway, well, hello there, Throngow here. And what you're looking at is a plaque of me from when I graduated Open Uni in November 2023. I received my grade back in July, which was a 2-1, which I'm quite pleased about. I was a few percentage off at first, but 2-1's still good. I actually submitted, I think, my last assessment, last EMA in June, so it took me about a month to just over a month, because it was early June, so to be fair, close to 2 months to get my final grade back. So I'm just going to take you through a little bit about what it's like to study with Open Uni, and for those of you who are thinking of going back to uni as a mature student like I did, to upskill yourself and what have you. So here we go. Okay, so the first thing that attracts people to Open University, especially mature students in particular, is the ability to do distant learning. Now, a lot of unis offer this now, but Open Uni has done this. It was definitely the first of the UK universities to do it. In fact, it predates the internet, where they used to do it via postal service, but those were days of old, long before I started studying. So anyway, to apply for it, it's quite similar to a normal university, although because I did originally study at a brick university in person years before, but withdrawn. But anyway, you'd go through the UCAS sites for normal universities and have conditional and unconditional offers, whereas Open University, as long as you have the grades, it's pretty much unconditional. But I think you do need at least GCSEs or what have you, so you will need to do them. And a lot of the courses, most if not all, I think you need to be at least college educated. That's UK college, not to be confused with American colleges, which operate on the same level as universities. So to apply, you go on their website, and if you have at least the base qualifications met, you apply on the degree you want to study, and it will come up with different finance options. You can still use student finance like you would with a normal university, and actually the Open University, at least when I've made this video, it was cheaper than a normal brick university, and the tuition fees, I mean. So yeah, it can be a little bit more cost effective and less debt as well. So anyway, you go through the applications and make sure your finance is sorted. You can also pay it straight yourself as well if you don't want it financed by student finance. It'll take you through it on the website. It's quite clear. There's also groups on Facebook you can join, on myself and in one of them. After you've selected the degree route of what you want to do, for example, if it's in finance, you then select the modules. Obviously, you have to do the first year modules before the second year and third. Or I think they refer to it as level 4, level 5 and level 6. But each module is different credits. You get some 30 credit modules, 60 credit modules, and these reflect the amount of effort and time of study you need to take. So one of the other pulls for mature students for the open universities, you can study part-time, so you could study 60 credits as opposed to the full-time 120 credits. 60 credits I think works out as around 20 hours a week, 10 to 20 if I'm not mistaken. So for example, you can do that around like a 40-hour working week. 30 credits if you've got a demanding job and you can only afford really up to 10 hours a week. So you could do some of the smaller modules as part of your degree and just do 30 credits a year. That said, obviously, the less you do, the longer it will be. The typical guidance is to do about 60 a year, which is about 6 years. So I mentioned I went to a brick uni first, so I actually was able to skip about a year and a half's worth of credits from a credit transfer. So basically, I only had to study 180 credits, so that's a year and a half's worth of study. So I did my first year personally part-time, 160 credit module to study over the academic year, and then the next year I dropped down my hours at my current job in retail. I dropped down to part-time and I decided to study full-time to get it finished, and I managed it fine. As you could see, I graduated and all that with pretty decent grades. So yeah, the option is there to certainly study full-time, but it will be demanding, and especially because it's distance, so you have all your lectures are online, so you have to be quite self-motivated and be a decent independent studier. Yeah, so if you kind of need to go physically to a uni, you need the kind of social circles, whatever, that could be something. You do get to an extent the online lectures, everyone, you can send messages in a group chat during these online lectures. They're live. Of course, you can use the recordings as well if you don't want to be part of the live ones. So yeah, in terms of study materials, you get sent in a post once you've established your degree route and selected all the modules you're going, and if everything's done in terms of funding. Oh, that's another thing. You apply and fund for each module individually each year rather than for each ongoing year. It's just you pay per module, or per modules if you're taking multiple ones each year. But as I was saying, you get sent some physical study materials in the post. The camera films things backwards, so the writing will look backwards to you, but that's one of my strength conditioning modules. So yeah, you do get some physical learning materials, but yeah, there'll be plenty of resources online, and you submit assignments online. You do have sometimes an end of year examination where you go somewhere in person. I personally didn't, but some modules do. So you'd be able to select on your module website. It will assign you to the nearest place. Like there'll be multiple venues throughout the country. So I hope that clears some of the stuff up. So we've gone through quite a bit so far. As you can see, it's a convenient option for many people if, like me, you just didn't really want to go into a physical university again. Whereas others, it's the convenience of working it around childcare, because they don't have to physically go somewhere as often, so they could potentially be studying whilst looking after their children, and for work-related reasons as well, because like myself, I've fallen into that category as well, I guess. If you're working full time, you can study part time, and then, like I mentioned earlier, you can, if you're studying part time, you can study full time. But most people study their whole degree part time whilst working full time due to financial commitments. But my outgoings are quite low, so I was in a good position where I could drop my hours for just one academic year and get it done in a quicker time. So those are the goods. But let's mention some of the drawbacks now. Obviously, I've briefly touched on about the social aspects. So especially like if you're in your early 20s and you want to kind of befriend people, go on nights out and stuff like that, there isn't really much of an element there. Like, I'm sure there's someone who might create a group where they can befriend people physically and meet up and the odd thing, but yeah, it's just nowhere near the same social aspect of going to a physical uni, especially if you live there. I think that's probably the best option for you if you're fresh out of college, and it's more geared towards people that are older than that, like if you don't really want to go back and have more commitments, if you're in your late 20s or beyond. But yeah, absolutely. Some young people might prefer it though, if they're very introverted or have social anxiety disorders, for example. So anyway, another disadvantage I should mention is, don't get me wrong, the tutors are great, but because you never meet them or anything, you have like their email, you can ask for help, but it's just not quite the same level as help as being able to physically speak to your tutor and see them. I think at best you might be able to get their number and ring them. I didn't do any of that though. I didn't have any numbers. I certainly asked for help here and there during email, but yeah, I just found the help is a bit limited compared to traditional brick universities, and that's not the university's fault. All the teachers do their best. Tutors, make no mistake. It's just it can't really be helped. There's that slight barrier by doing it the distance route. So another con that I should mention is more personal to me, so it might not be applicable to everyone. But what I found is I did the open degree Bachelor of Science route. The only trouble I have with that is it's still respected. It's a degree. It's an official recognised degree, but the title within itself is a bit broad. So the open degree route, you select modules that you want to study, and they can be different, and so yeah, you do have to kind of explain that to employers and interviews a bit. And I won't lie, haven't had any luck leaving my current job as of yet from making this video. So yeah, that's another kind I would like to mention. The open degree route's just a bit broad. You just have to explain yourself. I suppose you could maybe turn it round as a pro. You could kind of blag it and say, tailor it to the job you're applying for. But the only trouble with that is they'll ask what modules you've done, and if they have your transcript or whatever, then it's not really good to lie about things, so yeah. So I've talked about the pros and the cons, but I just want to go back to the pros briefly and give one last one to end on a high note. is, don't get me wrong, it is demanding. It's balancing working and other commitments with study, but the cravat of it is, if you go through busy periods of life, you can. One of the good things about studying it as slow and as fast as you want is you can simply have a break for the year, not study for 1 year. Like if you know a very busy work year is coming up, or if you're about to have a baby, you know, with your significant other. So yeah, you can have that. So yeah, it is good to have the freedom of studying it as fast as you want in full time, if you can manage it. There are some people that have studied full time and worked full time. Those people, you know, I don't know how they've done it, but fair play. But yeah, on the other side, you can study it as slow as you want. There is a time limit on it, but I think it's like 16 years. So yeah, from the application. So yeah, if you need the odd academic break, then yeah, that's something's convenient. So anyway, I hope that helps people, anyone out there who's trying to find resources and stuff about Open Uni. And because I know there's not actually that much on YouTube, I found personally, so I thought I'd make some myself. And to end, here is my scroll. Well, there's nothing actually in there. You actually get your scroll in the post before. So yeah, I hope that helps. Take care. Bye bye.